World football's 15 most famous insults. David Beckham vs. Spanish linesman. David Beckham was sent off for abusing a linesman during the early part of his Real Madrid career. Squeaky-voiced, "Wouldn't damage a fly, might harm Diego Simeone." David Beckham was sent off for insulting a linesman during the early part of his Real Madrid career, saying, World football's 15 most famous insults. Alan Shearer vs. Freddie Shepherd. Freddie Shepherd, the former chairman of Newcastle United, once remarked about Geordie Jesus, Alan Shearer. "We call Alan Shearer Mary Poppins because he's boring." Shepherd later apologized for his behavior against Miss Poppins. Shepherd would go on to prove that he was ahead of his time when, years later, Match of the Day viewers all over the world were reminded of how boring Alan Shearer is. World football's 15 most famous insults. Giovanni Trapattoni takes on Paolo Di Canio. I don't think I need to tell you that Trapattoni vs. Di Canio is a really hot match. When asked if Di Canio would be included in Trapattoni's 2002 World Cup squad, he replied, "Only in the event of a bubonic plague epidemic." Di Canio did not attend the World Cup since there was no epidemic of bubonic plague, which was fortunate for him, and everyone else. World football's 15 most famous insults. Lorenzo Amoruso vs. Tommy Docherty. When asked for his thoughts on Lorenzo Amoruso in 2000, Tommy the Dog Docherty replied, "He was compared to Billy McNeil, ex-Celtic captain, but I don't recall Billy being a jerk." This had nothing to do with Amoruso's involvement with Rangers at the time, and Docherty's debut at Celtic. World football's 15 most famous insults. Steven Gerrard vs. Arrigo Sacchi. Arrigo Sacchi has the right to criticize some of the world's top players after winning back-to-back European Cups with AC Milan and leading Italy to a World Cup final. And when it came to Steven Gerrard, Sacchi completely exploited that prerogative, saying, "Gerrard, he doesn't know how to play football, as far as I'm concerned." Which isn't exactly the most flattering thing you can say about someone whose job it is to play football. This was most likely unrelated to Amoruso's time at Rangers and Docherty's debut at Celtic. World football's 15 most famous insults. David Beckham vs. George Best. One of Manchester United's most famous number 7s was never always a fan of another of Manchester United's most famous number 7. David Beckham was once described by the late, great George Best as, "He can't kick with his left foot, can't head the ball, can't tackle, and doesn't score a lot of goals. Apart from that, he's in good shape." World football's 15 most famous insults. Alan Wiley takes on Sir Alex Ferguson. Some say Manchester United is every referee's favorite team. After Sir Alex Ferguson remarked of Alan Wiley's refereeing performance in 2009. The referee wasn't physically fit enough. The game necessitated the use of a physically fit referee. There are referees in other countries who are as fit as butcher's dogs. He was booking a player in 30 seconds and then taking a break. World football's 15 most famous insults. Mick McCarthy vs. Roy Keane. Anyone who has read one of my articles knows that I don't need much convincing to add football's Caligula, Roy Keane, on a list. During a disagreement with Republic of Ireland manager Mick McCarthy about Ireland's 2002 World Cup performance, Keane said, "You used to be a player, and now you're a manager. I only deal with you because you're the manager of my country, and you're not even Irish, you English. It's up to you to stick it up here. Roy, you're a charmer." World football's 15 most famous insults. Carlton Palmer takes on Dave Jones. In 1997, when Dave Jones was manager of Southampton, he signed Carlton Palmer. Palmer's talents, he once said, using the word talents loosely. "Carlton has to cover every blade of grass on the field, but you have to if your first touch is so bad." There are some encouraging words from the gaffer there. World football's 15 most famous insults. Martin O'Neill takes on Brian Clough. Martin O'Neill, the current Sunderland manager, was a terrible performer for Brian Clough's Nottingham Forest until he was dropped. Mr. Clough answered to O'Neill's question about why he was playing in his second team. "Because you're way too excellent for my third squad, Martin," says the coach. B. Clizzle has a turbo burn. World football's 15 most famous insults. David James vs. Paolo Di Canio. Paolo Di Canio spends most of his time making stupid statements to the media when he isn't wishing the bubonic plague on his compatriots. Di Canio once said of England goalkeeper David James when playing for West Ham United, "David James must have a pea-sized brain. I labelled him a cretin a year ago, so it's taken him that long to figure out what that phrase means. My 2-year-old kid is capable of learning more quickly." Imagine Di Canio's surprise when West Ham signed David James 6 months later. This slide has a happy ending. The couple reconciled shortly after. It just took James a year to notice. World football's 15 most famous insults. Vinnie Jones takes on Jimmy Greaves. To insult Vinnie Jones, you must be a courageous man. Jimmy Greaves, the legendary English footballer, appears to be a fearless man. When Vinnie Jones was discovered to be eligible to play for Wales due to a grandparent, Greaves said, "So crucify me. Coke, bribes, and Arsenal scoring 2 goals at home have all occurred. But, just when you thought football had run out of shocks, Vinnie Jones turns out to be an international player." Don't worry, Jimmy, Vinnie Jones is known for handling such utterances admirably. Didier Deschamps takes on Eric Cantona. Eric Cantona, a football philosopher, once attacked Didier Deschamps by suggesting that his sole responsibility was to pass to more brilliant players, saying, "He'll never be more than a water bearer." Deschamps' nickname of water carrier has stayed with him to this day, despite the fact that World Cup 1998 and Euro 2000 winner and youngest ever captain to be a European Cup lifter were not as memorable. World football's 15 most famous insults. Diego Maradona vs. humanity. 14 of 15. Diego Maradona is a man with a lot to say. And a good percentage of it is insulting. On his rival contender for the best footballer in history, Pelé. Pelé should go back to the museum. This is maybe due to old age affecting such comments, about Messi not being as good as Pelé. You can't blame the guy, he hasn't been doing anything for the past 20 years. I haven't even seen him in a supermarket, I don't know what he does. Usually, when you see him these days, it's only at award ceremonies next to the president of FIFA and looking like a doll that's being moved by remote control. They need to change the medicine they are giving to the idiot. On Michel Platini and the entire nation of France. We know how the French are and Platini is French and he thinks of himself as being more than the rest of the world. I've never paid him any attention and I won't do it now. On his own children. My legitimate kids are Dalma and Giannina. The rest are a product of my money and mistakes. On every player who played in France '98. The players have all got square feet. They are like Robocops, they have more need of lubricant than massage. I don't believe the tournament could be worse. On the United States of America. I hate everything that comes from the United States. I hate it with all my strength. On the cameraman, he has just run over in his car. What an A you are. How can you put your foot under the wheel, man? And on people who doubted his Argentina side's ability to qualify for the 2010 World Cup. To those who did not believe, now suck mine. I'm sorry ladies for my words, and keep on sucking it. I am either white or black. I will never be gray in my life. You treated me as you did. Now keep on sucking. I am grateful to my players and to the Argentinian people. I thank no one but them. The rest, keep on sucking.